one great Siddha is Narayana Swami. Even now he is alive. He was living in my hometown. More than 12 years I had the opportunity to be around him. Never ate or drank anything. The possibility to get energy directly from the sun rays. See what plants do, your body can do. What birds do can happen to your body. The possibility exists. You need to remind your cells. You need to remind your system about the possibility. I am telling all these things to insist, to give you the courage that the possibility exists. I tell you, same way the possibility for enlightenment exists in you. Remind your cells, remind your senses, remind your system, you can radiate enlightenment. Reminding your system that you can radiate enlightenment is what I call meditation, tapas. Just reminding you, reminding your own self, as on now, only your mind knows you can become enlightened. It should sink in you, your blood, your bones, your muscles, your whole being, every pore should know that you can radiate enlightenment. That is what I call seeking. The seeking will completely purify your being. When your whole being knows you can radiate, teaching your whole being you can radiate is what I call tapas, meditation. When your whole being knows you can radiate, you simply start radiating, that's all. You simply start radiating. Only the one who is capable of listening to pure dharma and find trust in it, and through right contact releases the baggage of karma and attains the higher consciousness. One more thing he says, only one who is capable of listening to pure dharma and find trust in it, means feeling connected to it. If you are sitting here and if you are able to listen everything without prejudice, and if you are feeling really connected to whatever words I am saying, if you feel whatever this guy is talking, it sounds good, it really sounds great, I think I am able to connect with it. If you feel that, 66% of work is done. Because Mahavira says three things: capable of listening to pure dharma, finding trust in it, and expressing through right contact. In these three, you have already done two. 66% of work is over. And the other 33, you don't even have to do. Just maintain that feeling connection, feeling connected to these teachings. Simply these words will work on you. Feeling connected is the bridge. Feeling connected is like a bridge. See, one side enlightened being, other side the human being who is ready for enlightenment, and feeling connected is the bridge. Here Mahavir says, one who is capable of listening to pure dharma means seeker, he is one side. Finding trust in it, feeling connected, that is the bridge. And naturally the other side, enlightened being, his energy passes through this bridge to your being and works on you. Listening to the truth and feeling connected. See, many times people clap their hands during the lecture if they feel what they are thinking is expressed by the speaker. If they listen exactly what they want to listen, they feel like clapping. They acknowledge to the speaker, yes, this is what exactly we want to listen and we are listening. Means they feel connected to what the speaker is expressing. So now, if you are capable of listening to pure Dharma, means understand, the capacity to listen the pure Dharma does not mean only having ears, only not being deaf. No. Being here without prejudice, without, there are many prejudices which can come. So many kinds of prejudices, possibility is there, and without prejudices. And if you feel connected to whatever you are listening, 66% of work is done. And the last thing, naturally, through right contact, releases the baggage of karma. Please understand, when you start living these great truths, in Sanskrit we have a word, nivritti, pravritti and nivritti. Pravritti means acquiring more and more karmas. Nivritti means going towards the unclutched space. If you just listen to the truth and go to the space of unclutching the pure energy, that is called nivritti. This very listening and feeling connected is more than sufficient to lead you towards nivritti. Let you feel deeply connected with these words. Let these words work on you and give you the strong experience of the ultimate. There are so many people asking to give some meditation. Surely tomorrow we will do that. Tomorrow and day after tomorrow we have more time, because in the evenings it will become too late if we go for meditation and everything. Maybe tomorrow and day after tomorrow we will have, tomorrow and day after tomorrow we have real sutras. Usually first 3-4 days I prepare people. I do not talk the complete truth, because if I 100%, the pure truth is too much for human beings, and there is every possibility they will run away. The first day itself I told you, I did not speak on Mahavira for all these days because I am afraid that people will run away. People will run away. And I know Mahavira is a pure diamond. Is a pure diamond. If you bring diamond, dynamic diamond, Mahavira is a dynamic diamond. Anything except diamond will become just ashes, reduced to ashes. So, if you really allow Mahavira to work on you, anything which is inside you except Mahavira, the Mahavira consciousness will become ashes. If there is a big stone, only little portion is diamond and all other things are carbon covering that stone, covering the diamond. If you bring a dynamic diamond towards that stone, except that diamond portion, everything else will be taken away, will become ashes. Diamond is used to cut the diamond. So with any raw diamond, uncut diamond, there will be portion carbon, the ordinary stone. So if you bring the dynamic diamond towards that uncut diamond, the uncut diamond will be cut and it will be purified. All the other portions except diamond will be removed, will become ashes, will disappear. Same way, in your being also, there is a spark of Mahavira consciousness and there is so much of dust, carbon around it. And if you bring the dynamic diamond, Mahavira, towards your inner space, everything except Mahavira consciousness will be taken away from you, will become ashes, will be reduced to ash. And it will be too much. So I always wait and spend few days so that you will sit to listen. Then I can start the truth. So let us start the truth tomorrow and day after tomorrow. And have meditations also tomorrow and day after tomorrow. There are just 2 questions I'll answer. Why is divorce not allowed in Vedic marriage? Because our masters understood constantly changing the outer man or woman is not going to help. Why is divorce not allowed in Vedic system? In Vedic system we don't have divorce. You take vow in front of Agni saying that till death these vows will be practiced. You don't say till I divorce. No. And in the Vedic system, witness for all the vows is the life energy and the cosmic consciousness, not any lawyer or any priest. No. The fire and the cosmic energy is the witness. So there, we don't have actually equivalent word for divorce. Only in later Sanskrit the equivalent word for divorce is created. In the traditional system, the words for divorce we don't have. And one more important thing, our masters are very clear, by changing the outer man or woman, the problem is not going to solve. First of all marriage is failure. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus. When I read that book, I felt that it is too close. Mars and Venus are too close. And maybe men are from Mars of some other solar family, and the women are from Venus of some other solar family. So I don't think from the same solar family. And all marriage is failure. They understood the truth. All marriages are failure. But if you tell the people directly, it is very difficult for everybody to understand that before going through the suffering. Whatever is said and done, suffering is the best teacher. Now I tell you really, I can give so many experiences. These young guys, especially in the West, NRI youngsters, they will be brought to me by their parents. Usually these guys don't want to come to the Swamis and all these spiritual gurus and all those things till they are married. No. Their parents will force them and bring them to me. Hey, come and take blessings of Swamiji, come. They will come and these parents will do Sashtanga Namaskar. And usually I bless them, and these guys will be standing and, hi, how are you? I also tell them, yes, hi, how are you? And I have no problem, and I don't expect them to do Namaskar. And they talk in a way that as if they know the life, and these traditional things like a sannyas, spirituality, all these things are only for fools or old people like their parents who don't have intelligence. That's the way they try to talk to me. And they say, hi, how are you? And all right, you say something, okay. And I just think in my mind, let you fellow get married. Nothing. Just 1 year after the marriage, the guy when he comes, he knows completely how to do Namaskar. And now he straight away falls. And not only that, now he knows how to say yes. Now I tell you really, 10 years of my training is equal to 1 year of marriage life. What I can't do with people, if I work with them for 10 years, 1 year is enough. That fellow is completely in tune. And now he knows how to say, yes, Swamiji, yes, Swamiji. And he knows everything, and he is so polite. And I can, according to me, the best training. And completely that guy is in tune. And nothing can teach like suffering. The other day I was reading a beautiful one-liner. Survey statistics says that married people live longer. But what to do? They only want to die quicker. Dying quick is much better than wanting to die. Anyhow, our masters, they know all marriage is failure. Some intelligent guys who understand it before going through, they are called Paramahamsas. And people who wants to go through and understand by experience, they go through the Grihastha Dharma and take sannyas or whatever it is. That is anyhow. Usually, if you change constantly again and again, you will never realize that changing the outer women or men is not going to help. Only changing your ideas is going to help. That is why our masters want to stop the outer possibility of changing, the possibility of changes in the outer world. And they want to tell you, do not waste your time. Enough. Try once. When you find it's not working, now it is time, turn towards inside. That is why our masters do not want. And if you can't cope up with one person, how do you think you are going to live? By changing the other person? No. Because you are going to carry the same mind. So changing the inside is more important. That is why in our tradition we do not have the very concept diverse. Swamiji, do any scriptures say anything about sati? This women committing suicide. As far as I know, there is no strong scripture like Upanishads or the Shrutis have any reference about sati, and they do not talk about sati. And I do not know about these minor scriptures like Smritis have got any reference, and Smritis are more like movies of those time. Understand these two different things. It's not that all the movies produced in Hollywood or Bollywood represent the society structure. There can be some fantasies of a producer added into it. So Smritis and Puranas are more like movies created in those days. So you can't say they represent enlightenment or enlightened wisdom or the truths of those days society. So we can't take Puranas and Smritis as a standard scriptures. Only Shruti, Upanishads can be taken as a standard books, and from them I don't see any reference for sati. And there was another question which yesterday somebody wrote and gave. Going and listening to other religious masters or other tradition masters, that's a very important question we need to analyze. See, in those days, maybe some reason they would have created that idea. But it is time that we should update ourselves. There was two great enlightened masters living at the same time. Both of them had so much of reverence and respect for each other. But they always tell their disciples not to go to the other master. One disciple asks him, Bhagavan, you don't even put your foot in the direction, you put your feet in the direction where he is staying. You have so much of respect for him. But you say not to go to him or listen to him. Why? Master says, fool, whenever I work on you, when you feel pain during the operation, you will try to escape and go away to him. And when he works on you, when he does some operation on you, you will try to escape from there and come here. You will not allow the operation to be completed neither by him nor by him. You will escape from both the masters. That is the reason I tell you not to go there. In those days, maybe for that reason, they would have told, at some point, do not listen to other religious masters. But now I feel it is time to update some of these beliefs. I feel now you are intelligent enough to learn what is right and what is wrong. And you are intelligent enough. I am very sure that you don't take all the ideas which I am giving to you. Knowing clearly I am sitting and speaking, please be very clear. I do not trust you listen to me. And I am speaking, that is different. And I don't trust. You may trust me, but I don't trust you. Let me be very clear. It is time that you are intelligent enough to learn whatever you want to learn from me. So you can go around and pick up best flowers and make a beautiful bouquet. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. It is time to update yourself. So I always tell people, learn best things from all possible sources. Pluck flowers from all the gardens and make a beautiful bouquet or garland for yourself. So it is, and one more thing, in this modern day also, I see some of the masters constantly advising people, don't go there, don't go there. These guys don't understand people are very intelligent. Still they are thinking people are fools and they are going to listen to them and not go to the other masters. But I tell you, see one thing, if I tell you don't go, only two possibilities. One, you will listen to my words, or you will just go and see what is going on there. And if you really feel connected so much to me, even without telling, you will not go anywhere. And if you really still wanted to go and search, even if I tell you don't go, you will go. Understand? If you completely feel connected through the heart, even if I give you the freedom you can go, you will not feeling like going. And if I tell you don't go, and if you are really not completely feeling satisfied, even if I tell don't go, you will be going. So this don't go word has no use in modern day. I think it is time that we update ourselves. We remove these ideas of not listening to other traditions and not appreciating the great things from all traditions. It is time that we learn best things from all sources and enrich our life. Let you all learn. One more thing, your ego is such, it will not die even if it is attacked from so many corners, from so many sides. So how do you think it will die? Just by one person teaching. So learn, nothing wrong. Let you learn and experience and achieve and radiate the eternal bliss, Nityananda. Thank you.